Yeah, that
This
would be good.
meeting is being recorded.
Okay, we're good. Okay,
Okay, so
so
anyway, just trying to update you. So I remember the last time we spoke, I was telling you that my sister, she's got some writing skills, was helping me go over, and honestly, she probably made it 4.5 chapters in, and
mhm,
then not that we had a falling out per se. We didn't have a falling out, but I realized, she does a lot of things. Her job's demanding, and she's just going too slow because the way
okay,
she does, she wants to. It's
right.
just taking too long, and then we both kind of agreed, like, okay, I've helped you as much as I can, but you got to kind of take it from here, and I agreed too.
Okay.
So, we still have a great relationship. That's not what I meant by falling out.
It's
So that
good.
might have landed. Anyway, so I'd like to email you my updated copy.
Okay, you can do that.
Maybe get your perspective where you're comfortable. I really want to knock this out. And the other thing that slowed me down, frankly, was I was being so indecisive about what I wanted the title of the book to be.
Okay, and don't get tripped up on the title. I think, that it's great to have a working title just so you can get some direction. And then at
Yeah.
the end of everything, sometimes, the actual title doesn't come until you put all of the pieces together, so especially when you're taking out things and adding things. So even though it's good to have a working title to start with, and that working title and that working subtitle, that's all not in stone until you actually, plug it into and upload it. That's when, okay, you can't change it. So don't get tripped up on the title. Really focus on, you know, what you want the book to be about. And so your working title speaks to that. And so
Okay.
don't get tripped up on that. Let's just get the information. And I know I had you do the SANE statement, the SANE statement, correct? That first time we met. Do you still have that handy?
Yes.
Okay, so
Handy, as in I can grab it for you right now. No, I don't have it that handy.
okay, do you have
But
it handy up here in your mind? I know we spent a lot of time kind of going over that as far as
um, I have it slightly handy in my mind, but I'm
okay,
having to. I'm
give
gonna
me
have to really think.
give me the slightly handy version.
Well, I think the only part I remember from that discussion off the top of my head was,
Hmm.
I exist to help show teachers how to reflect God's love for their students. Something like that
Okay.
was the
Is it
statement I think you and I came up with.
that sounds to me. So is that still where you want to go with the book? As far as your audience, is it still for teachers? Who is your target audience?
Well, and yes, the answer is yes. It is for teachers or just educational workers.
Okay.
Whatever role that might
Okay.
land. The
Right.
part that my sister and I kind of were like, wait a minute, we had to kind of churn it out, which I agree, but I'm really struggling avoiding this. And this is where I need your guidance, maybe, or perspective. So, you know, Christianity and God and like that is so central to why I'm doing anything, right?
Right.
For me personally.
Mm-hmm.
And 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 is almost to the point for me personally, it's almost impossible to tell the story that I'm trying to write without bringing the Lord up as
Okay.
the reason why I'm making the decisions I'm doing. It's his idea, the way I look at it.
Okay.
I learned from him, and then I saw, wow, you really do know what you're talking about, Lord, and look what's happening. That's so. I reference scripture. I point all that out, and then my sister, who's also a Christian, but she's a little more like business minded, like
Mm-hmm.
practical than I am. But she's just like, well, I mean, I don't want you to ostracize your audience. You don't want to shut doors. Like, what's the purpose of the book? Do you want to open doors to be able to get your model into more schools? You might want to,
Yeah.
and I see that, but it's hard for me to.
Yeah. And I understand that. Being a Christian myself, but also with your sister understanding the business model of it. But here's the thing for you. If you feel as though you can't avoid, I'm not saying avoid like, you have to avoid like it's a bad thing, but
Right.
if it's unnatural to you not to bring the Lord in a written sense with scriptures and mentioning things like that, then you're going to have to go with what's natural to you, because if it's too much of a struggle to I don't want to say make it secular per se, but the whole idea of sometimes as Christians we have to learn how to be yeast in the world. And so sometimes yeast does what it does. It doesn't come down to, hey, I'm yeast and I'm going to make this bread rise. Yeast just, it's in there. And so sometimes we as Christians have to learn how to get God's presence into a place without bopping people over the head with it, because you will turn people off. And those
Right.
of us who are Christians and we're reading your book, we're going to immediately reckon, whether you say God, whether you quote scripture, we are going to know, okay, that's God right there. Those who are, anti-God or different faiths or whatever, even though you don't quote scripture, they will, in essence, get, the concept or the spirit of what God is saying. So, for example, give me a scripture that you're planning on using that you can tell
In
right
the
off the
book,
bat.
I have it pulled up here, and so let me see if I can pull up one of the scriptures. Well, I'll tell you one I can think of right now.
Mm-hmm.
Which this is this is a scripture that, frankly, I'm either talking to a Christian who gets it, or you're just going to be like, what in the world? But,
Right.
one that says, we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities and powers and high things that exalt themselves. I reference
Right.
that at a specific point.
So, and so with that, you can say, sometimes in the classroom, we have to understand that we're not dealing with the flesh of the kid. Sometimes we're dealing with things unseen that we have to really get a grasp of. So the same thing is, and so once again, and that's off the top of my head, but
yeah,
once again, you are going to have to make that decision. This is your book, and
right.
and so if it's natural for you, and if it's a struggle for you to, take those things out or rephrase them or reframe them, then Chris, go with what's natural for you, because this
Yeah,
is ultimately your book. And you know what? If your target audience is really going, maybe you need to redefine who your target audience is. Is your target audience going to be, for those of a Christian faith or a faith background? Because, there are people who are not necessarily Christians, but they still understand biblical concepts. And so you're going to have to understand that. And with the realization that um, if you have if you want to get your book into the schools, that some schools may say, well, no, we can't bring this in because it is more of a of a religious context. But there are going to be some schools be like, hey, I love it, we can do this. And so you just you make those decisions, that understanding in mind. So I would say, or it could be, right, take the book as is, all your scriptures, all your God references, and all of that, and then maybe go back little by little and say, okay, how can I rephrase this so I don't have to say, 1 Corinthians, 10:11 says this, Ephesians 6:11 says this. And I
hmm
think that's one of the things that your sister, maybe honing in on, is that sometimes you don't always have to say book, chapter, verse, especially if it's not a biblical study book, or if it's not geared for, let's say if the book was for Christians specifically, yeah, we want book, chapter, verse, where you getting this from, son, and things like that. And we're going to check you on it if you mess it up. But if you're
right.
writing a book for a general audience, you don't always have to come off as book, chapter, verse. And it's okay for you to, mention God, mention Jesus, because that's who you are. And, people aren't going to be turned off, by that. What turns the non-Christian world off is when they find a book that's marketed to the general public, and then it becomes more of a proselytizing type thing, when you're saying, and God says you should do this, and Ephesians chapter 6 verse 11 tells us to put on that whole armor of God, and if you don't put on your whole, and you're preaching. And so that's what will turn people off, not so much the mentioning of God, or even, putting some scripture in there. And so you just
I don't think I wrote it in a way, just to interject, I don't think I wrote it in a way. Now, obviously, this is me talking, and I'm not,
right,
I'm too close to it.
right,
But so just keep that in mind. But I feel like I didn't write it in a way where it was like preaching at them, but
right,
it's just like, this is here I am, this is what I believe, here's what happened, so
right.
this makes sense to me that this is the way it is, and it just kind of, but I don't feel like it's like, believe what I believe or else you're,
Yeah.
I don't, at least my heart wasn't from that place as
Okay.
I was writing the story.
Yeah.
Like if I had to tell you right now, I would be like, I'm just gonna leave it how it is. I'm just gonna be me, and this is the truth, and I'm not gonna try to.
I think that's going to be the easiest route for you, Chris. Be you to get this thing finished. And
Yeah,
then when it comes down to, you may have to pay for a professional editor, because once again, okay, you got your sister, you're bumping heads, you want to be able to enjoy Thanksgiving dinner together, and all this stuff. So, you may have to, and I have a,
this
the
is
list of,
Christmas.
at least
This is
Christmas, you want to
Christmas that
give,
we both
yeah, you want to get a gift. So, and so you may really need to consider, um, maybe not having her as an editor, maybe keeping her as one of your, the beta readers, where she's just giving you her general ideal, her general opinion, but not really working on the editing. Because with the beta readers, it's like, okay, just give me, um, your ideal. And what I did, and what I typically do when I write, is I have several beta readers, and I have each one focus on one specific thing. And so, if you want your sister to read it and focus on, are you bopping people over the head with, with scripture, that's the only thing she's reading for. That's the only task she has. And then you find someone else to say, is how is this coming across, to a person in the education field? Get one of your teacher friends to read it from that perspective. And so to have different readers just focus on one thing, and it makes their job a lot easier, and it makes them more focused. But if it's too much of us, don't try to struggle not being Chris Morris, because
Yeah,
this is what this book is about, Chris Morris's experience. And you can't take this experience, or you can't take God out of Chris Morris's experience. And the bottom line is, for those who are going to be offended by your use of God or whatever, this book was not for them.
right.
This book is not for them. And so even though your target audience, you're not setting out to make it exclusive, but some people will kind of self-exclude, just from reading the bio of the book, or the reviews,
And
and
that's okay. Like the more I think about it, I'm like,
yeah,
what if I just say what I believe, and the people who believe what I believe will probably be drawn to it, and
yeah,
that's a
yeah,
market in and of itself. So
yeah. Because here's, your book is going to be almost twofold. You're telling Chris's experience, and Chris's experience is from a Christian perspective. But the model that you want to have implemented in the schools, it really has no no religious doctrine. And so,
right,
you can separate those two, that this is, the experiences that you're talking about in your book is a Chris Morris's experience. This is how Chris Morris, got through these things. And then the concept or the ideal that came out of it can be implemented no matter what a person's belief system is, because
Right.
you're not really pushing the belief system, you're pushing the love system versus
Right.
the Christians, because we don't have a lockdown on being loving and being kind. And so we don't want to say, well, if you don't have God, then you really you try to implement this model, you're going to fail, because we know that's not true. We don't have a lockdown
Right.
on love and grace and mercy. We don't.
Right. No, that's good. So, do you want me to just email you my latest copy, or
Mm-hmm.
I can do
Yeah.
that now if you want me to?
Yeah. Yeah. Email me that copy.
Okay.
Um, Now you said that, okay, so what is it that you feel you have left to do outside of the editing? What do you think that
Okay.
to make this book ready to send to a real editor, what else do
Yeah.
you have to do? You said you were
Um,
starting with your message.
I think I have a full written document now. I think I
Mm-hmm.
have my, that's going back and forth about what I wanted to really say at the end and make sure I have valuable takeaways for people.
Right.
So it's not just like reading a story about this guy, but it's like, oh, I can get something out of this.
Right.
You know, I just want to clean up stuff. I need to get the editing process done. I hired an editor after my first little rough draft, but that wasn't good enough. And I've added some things to it. I know I'm gonna, obviously I need to eventually pick a book cover designer. I need to get editing done. One thing that I really don't know about and I need help with is making sure, like, when I'm doing quotes, I'm talking or the student's talking or whatever, and the way I've decided to punctuate things, I have no idea if I even did that right.
Yeah, your editor will probably handle the dialogue quotes and all that. That's pretty much the editor's responsibility to make sure all that.
Okay.
You're going to be looking for a copy editor, and
Right.
they'll make sure they should be making sure all of those
Right.
things are in order there. So don't you even worry about that. Your thing is get the stuff written. And so
Right.
how many chapters do you have right now?
I believe it's 14. If you give me just one moment, I'll pull it
Mhm.
up and tell you
Yeah.
exactly what I believe it is. Nope, I'm right. 14 chapters. On Word, we're looking at like 93 pages.
How many words?
That's a better way to ask, isn't it? I will tell you in just a second. I remember where to click on the word count. Looks like I'm at, hold on. I think I highlighted something and it only counted what I highlighted. Hold on. Look like I'm at 39,963.
How many?
So practically 40,000.
Oh, okay.
I mean, it's just a little below 40,000.
Okay. And a
So,
and a and a good way to kind of get a feel for how much you may end up paying is that a lot of editors will charge you per word. And so
oh,
the going rate is anywhere from 0.004 to 0.008 cents per word. But you take that 40,000 and
yeah.
multiply it by those two numbers, and you'll get your window of what you can expect to pay for a copy editor.
So like $200 to
$1,900.
no, 200.
Oh, what
200.
can I say? What kind of math is
No
that?
way. No, 200. Especially $200 or $300.
Okay. Yeah. So
Based on that.
and that's just some editors will charge you per page, but it ends up being almost the same. So that's just kind of get you a feel budget wise what you can expect. And a lot of editors will allow you to do payments that, okay, you need a deposit to get them started, and then they have like checkpoints, depending on how long it takes them and things like that. So they might not require all the money up front. Some of them say no, I need half now and half later. you kind of work that out. As far
Gotcha.
as book cover designs, once you send your book to editing, that's when you can really focus on the book cover design, because once it's in the editor's hands, you're not touching the book, you're not messing with it. And so that's a really great time to focus on the book cover design. You do want to kind of have you know, your title and subtitle in mind, and to kind of have a general idea of what you would like your book cover to look like. If you envision something with pictures on the front, or you envision something more business oriented where there are not a lot of graphics, it might just be, the title, a spacer bar, the subtitle. And so it doesn't have to be, a lot of graphics and all that. And so kind of
Yeah.
have, envision, go to Amazon and see other books in that category. What are they doing? And it's one thing to try, well, I'm going to do something different. Sometimes that's not so great, because people, look at a book and they expect a certain thing. And so you can be unique, but don't try to, this is a book about education. So you got something with, seeds and a farmer, and because your ideal is I'm a farmer planting seeds and I'm going to pull this big stalk of corn off, and people's going to think it's some kind of fictional tale about a farmer and his farm. So just kind of see what's out there. But for you, the main focus is, out of these 14 chapters, does each chapter say what you intended for it to say? Because I think we had sat down and we did that each chapter should have, maybe at least 3 takeaways or 2 or 3 takeaways. And,
Yeah.
what is the point of that chapter? And did you accomplish what you set out to accomplish for each
Are you
chapter?
asking me that now?
Hmm?
Are you asking me that now?
Yes. Do you feel as though?
I think so. I think so. I mean, it's very possible there's a chapter where I'm like, well, I didn't really maybe accomplish what I thought. But
And
having really sat down over the last month and a half and been like going at it, really trying to clean it up on my end.
yeah, so basically,
I'm saying,
you go back, and say, okay, chapter 1, this is what I said I was gonna do, or
yeah,
chapter 1, these are my three takeaways. And I think I went over doing the whole treasure map system with you,
right.
where you had your 3 takeaways, and then you would write in, okay, how am I going to get a person to come to this conclusion, and things like that. And we did that, correct? I think
Yes.
we did that.
We went over it. You showed me kind of how it is, and you asked me, if that would work for you. And I was like, I'm
Right.
not sure if that's how my mind works or not, but I'm going to consider it, and
Okay. Okay.
kind of toyed around with that process.
Yeah. And so,
Um,
you were saying, earlier that you don't feel as though you've gotten your message out. I think if you did the steps for each chapter, that I want chapter 1, this is what it's going to be about. This is what I want my reader to take away from it. And then you put all the information in that chapter to lead your reader to that specific point. Same thing for chapters 2 through 14. This is what you said you wanted to accomplish. Did you put the information in there for your reader to come to the conclusion that you wanted them to have? And in that particular chapter, when you said there might be one chapter, well, I don't know, go back, look at that chapter. What's missing? Is it information that's missing? Is it statistics that's missing? Is it a funny story that's missing? What's missing that would bring that reader to come to the conclusion that you would like for them to have? And so,
okay.
step by step. And I think you are probably more finished than you think you are. And I think the one thing that I had to learn when I did my first book is that sometimes you just have to let the baby go. You fed it, you
I'm so
changed it, you
there.
clothed it, you burped it.
I'm so
Sometimes
there.
you have to let the baby go to sleep, and don't focus on little small, because you're gonna always find something to do better, to take away, to add. You can be at this 10 years from now, and it'll end up
Right.
being a totally different book. And so you're
Right.
going to have the confidence to say, okay, you know what? I've done what I set out to do. And you send it to the editor. The editor is going to find some things, maybe to have you tweak some things. They may even have some ideas, some things that you missed. Your beta readers will have some things that they might want to add to it for you to consider. And if and no, I don't want to do that or whatever. And so you don't have to have it. Chris doesn't have to have it all in his head. That there's a point in time when you poured all of Chris out, and now it's time to get some fresh eyes on it. Does that make
Well,
sense?
I think I'm at that time. I was already thinking before I called you. I was like, I'm done. I'm sick of this. Frankly, I'm sick of thinking about it.
Yeah. And
I want to say I got
yeah,
this done. And
yeah,
let's see what God does with it.
yeah. And you're gonna hit that point a couple more times. Trust me. after the editor gets back with you, yeah, you're gonna because what's gonna happen is, let me tell you the process. You're gonna send it to your editor. You and your editor, she's gonna say, well, this. She may make the revisions, or she may have you make the revisions. You get the book cover done. We'll get it formatted. We'll get it on Amazon. We'll upload it, and you're gonna get a proof back. You're not gonna publish. You're just gonna get a printed proof back. You're gonna read through that proof, and even though it's been edited, the editor did their job. You are still gonna find things that you are gonna want to change once it's in your hand and you're flipping those pages. So you think you're tired of the baby now. Yeah, it's getting on your nerves, but you don't know what getting tired of the baby is right now until you've gotten that proof back. That's a
Okay.
whole new. So I'm just preparing you for that. So I think, right, at this point where you're at, you know what? I'm sick of this. I'm done. I think it's time to let it go to the editor. If you've done have you worked on your introduction?
Yes, I have. Let me see. I don't have the introduction on the document. I actually, by the way, I just emailed it to you.
Okay.
And so you check your email.
Okay.
You'll see one email from me that says the title, and here it is. And then I forgot to attach it. So you'll see another email replied under it that has the actual attachment.
Okay. So,
but anyway, on the very back of the document that I sent you, like the last page,
okay.
I have I don't know how that works, but as far as what's on the back of the book, your quick little summary at the back of the book.
Yeah, your book cover designer will take care of that. You would just tell them what you want, the synopsis basically. And
you tell them what I want it to say?
Well, yeah, basically, you would have your back cover synopsis, you would type it out, and you would send that to the cover designer, and they'll put it on the back for you.
Yeah. But I'm saying I have to write it.
Yeah, you do have. Yeah, a lot of times people would take a little portion from their introduction or their preface and put it on the back cover. So we'll worry about that later.
Yeah, I already wrote it, at least a rough draft of what I think I'd like on the back of it.
Good. And you have your author bio.
I'm pulling up. I have a separate document with those things. I'm just trying to make sure before I answer you and say I've done something that I haven't done. Hang on one second. That's not it. Let's see. Intro. Okay, yeah, I have a bio that I've done.
Okay.
That it might need to be revised a little bit, but I have written a version of a bio.
Okay. That's going to go on the inside. Another thing that I want you to work on, I don't know if we talked about this, is in most books, especially when the book is written as a platform to other things. You want speaking engagements, you want people to contact you, is the front matter stuff. And this is, hey, this is how you contact Chris. I'm available for speaking engagements, blah, blah, blah. If you have any other products, T-shirts, books, or anything else that you want people, you definitely want to make sure to give them, your email information. If you have a website,
Yeah.
I think I remember us talking about something that you can create as, when someone signs up on your emailing list that they get something free. I think we had discussed
Right.
that you need to start creating some things in your mind. Have you done that yet?
Yes, I have. I have that set up on my website.
Okay.
I definitely need to get better at making sure I'm continually having something I can offer for free for it.
Yeah.
But I have it set
Yeah.
up. Yes.
Okay. And so, you make sure you put that into your front matter. That's going to come um, right after, I think right before the table of contents. It's what's called front matter. And, just, don't say what the free gift is. You just say, sign up, get a free gift from Chris, because those gifts might change every so often. So don't lock yourself into something. So, go ahead and, get that all typed up and ready. And you don't have to send that part to the editor. Don't send that part to the editor. You don't have to send your bio to the editor, because that's going to add more words, more pages, more money. We can take care of the bio part. And so I can send you a list of the editors that I've worked with some of my clients. Most of them are local here. All of them are Christians. So they will understand where your heart is coming from, and I will give you all those that contact information. And another thing that I did when my husband and I wrote our book is I went to freelancer.com. I don't know if I've mentioned that to you before, but it's kind of a website similar to Fiverr, where you put in a job that you want done. Like, I did for our book. I said, hey, I have a book that I need edited. I gave them some of the different parameters of the book. It's this many words, this many pages. I'm looking for copy editing. And you already know in your mind how much you want to spend, anywhere between, you say, $200 to $300 or $400. And so you would put in have you ever used Fiverr?
I've used Fiverr. I use Fiverr for my business anyway. I've
Okay.
used Upwork. I actually used Upwork the first
Okay.
time I had this edited.
Okay.
But I feel like I didn't like,
Okay.
she did okay. There was progress to the document, but it wasn't
Yeah.
good enough.
Okay. Well, a freelancer works the same way. And so, if you're familiar with Fiverr or Upwork, same process. I will also send you a list of questions to ask an editor. Did I send you that already? Did I give you that already? Okay.
Send me.
Okay, so I will send you, let me write that
That
down.
sounds good.
I will send you a list of questions to ask your editor. And so when you're interviewing people that are trying to get a feel for who to choose, you have your little checklist here. You already have in mind, how much it should cost. So if someone's saying, well, I can do it for $75, you probably don't want that person. Or somebody, I can do it for $850. That's probably a bit overkill based upon the 0.4 to 0.8 cents per word. And so, that just kind of gives you
and based upon hell no.
Right, basically. And so you can, go with that in mind, that, if they quote too much under that bottom range or too much over that top range, just say, thank you, and, keep looking. And like I said, you want to make sure that, hey, I always ask people especially when I did the freelancer, can you give me a sample? So I sent them, what I did was I sent a couple of stories out of my husband and my book, and say, here, edit this, to see what they come up with. I had one guy tell me, well, I don't do samples. Like, okay, that's fine. So he was off my list, because I'm not going to hire you. I don't know what you can do. And then if they have a website, check their references, their portfolio, and things like that. But I'll send you that checklist, and I'll send you one for the book cover designer too. I have one, things to ask your book cover designer.
Okay.
And I will also send you the name of the person that I've worked with. I don't know if you know Michael Simmons. I want to say one of the editors, Leslie, she does editing and book cover design. So that might
What, is
be,
she local?
yeah, she's local. Her name is Leslie Smith. She's local, and she does, graphic design. She does writing and editing and things like that. So she may be a good person to do, the one and all. You may get a discount for using both of her services or whatever. So I will send you that list also.
Thank you.
And like I said, when you send me, you sent me your document, and I will take some time today just to kind of look over it, add, put my 2 cents in or whatever. And what I should have asked you to do, I'll do that on my own, and I have to, maybe I'll send it back to you, kind of a what they call it, reverse engineering, the book or the outline, where you take it and you break it down to the sections that, okay, this is what this is saying, and I'll give you my 3 takeaways that I've gotten from it. And then you can see if you're on the right track. Because if I say, well, I got this from reading the chapter, and you say, well, no, that's not what you were supposed to get out of this chapter at all, then you pretty much know you didn't get your message across in that particular chapter. So that's how I'll kind of read it. That's how I'll kind of read it for you, okay?
And I wonder if just looking, because I have them in red at the very end of like my takeaways, or what I'll say, like strategy 1, do this, things to consider about it. Like, so it kind of hits that.
Okay.
I hope you took away these lessons from what you just read.
Okay.
And that might help you see if I said what I thought I said too.
Yeah, gotcha.
When you look
So
at it.
the editors, the book cover, you sent me your documents. I will take some time after we get done here. I'm watching the grandbabies today, so hopefully they'll let me get this done. Yeah, well, I have a 13-year-old, 8-year-old, but we have like a 3-month-old that, gotta keep an eye on that one there. So
Get them to sleep.
we're good. You are going to work on your bio. Okay, I don't want you to work on the book anymore at this point. Don't work on your document anymore at this point. I want you to work on your bio.
I don't think I have anything else I can think to say. I seriously can't. I'm just like, I think I said it. I don't got anything else.
Yes, so I want you to work on your bio, updating your bio. I want you to, really work on, you said you're working on the rough draft for the synopsis for the back of the book. You've written your introduction to the book. I want you to work on that front matter page, as far as letting the people know that this is, what you're available to do, and how they can contact you if there's, any, other products that you have. Make sure that you're updating, your website, and really start to hone in on how you envision your book cover. What do you, do you have any vision in mind for your book cover? What do you see?
That is something I'm going to be tapping into the other half of me, which is my wife.
Okay.
Because I have pretty close to zero design visionary. I really am going to lean on, what do you think looks okay? You would know. That's how that works for me.
Okay. Well, I think this would be a great time, kind of sit down with your wife, and even with, with the title and subtitle, if you're not really sold on it,
what I just sent you, I like. You can see it, what I came up with. I actually feel pretty good about it.
Okay.
But I'm humbling myself enough to know that doesn't mean I know squat.
Okay.
But that's
And you know what? And this would be a great time to, this is what I want you to work on. I think we talked about this, is to commit are you on Facebook?
Oh yeah,
Okay, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, all that stuff. What
I'm
I
on all
want
that
you to,
stuff, but I normally just check Facebook.
okay,
Personally.
are you and I are Facebook friends, are we? We need to, I don't think we're Facebook
I
friends.
don't know. I'll find out right now because I got my web browser
You have
up.
to look under Laura Bester Brown.
BESTR.
Bester, like good, better, bester.
Well, I just there you go. I just sent you a request.
Okay. And so what I want you to do, if you haven't already done it, Chris, is put this book out there in the atmosphere. You know, say, hey,
Start talking about it.
say what? You
In
thought
other
about
words, start talking about it.
it. Okay. And so what you want to do is begin to get people invested in this process. Say, you know, hey, I got a book coming out this year. Okay, we're going to commit to get it out this year, no later than December. No later than, I forget what our target
I want it.
was. Huh?
I want it. I want it soon.
Okay, well, just say this year, or you can pay, you know, hey, I want this book out by, you know, November or September, whatever. But say, I need your help. You need your Facebook friends' help. And you can start a poll and say, these are my proposed book titles. Which ones do you guys like best? Even though you might already have it in your mind which one you're going to choose, okay? You give your friends a chance to invest in the process. So, you know, give maybe 2 different book titles, maybe a third one, and then say, maybe say other, I'm open to suggestions. And then maybe let them send in some titles that they like, and you never know, they might come up with something better than what you have. But what that does is it begins to get people invested in the process. Same thing with your book cover design. You know, have a couple of different designs and say, okay, you know, hey, I've narrowed it down to these 3 choices. Which ones do you guys like? You know, A, B, or C. And even though you may already have in your mind, this is the one I'm going to choose, it still gets people invested in the process. And I just lost my train. I was going to tell you something else you had to begin to think into your mind too. Because like I said, right now we're not working on the book anymore. That's out of your hands at this point. Start thinking about how you're going, if you're going to do pre-sales and pre-orders. One of the benefits to doing pre-orders is it gets people once again excited about the process. But when you do pre-orders and people, you make sure people pay you, for the pre-orders, you take the monies from the pre-orders to fund some of the finances for your book, to fund some of the process for your book, whether it's ordering the books or whatever. But you use those pre-orders to fund the process before it's published.
That's smart.
And here's an ideal that may appeal to you or may not appeal to you, but one author, I don't know if you know who Michael Hyatt is, what he did with his book, and I was part of this particular process, is before he published, months before he published, he sent this message out to his email list that if anybody wanted to be in the process of getting this book done, and it wasn't in the finished stage. He was pretty much where you are now with it, I guess. And so what he said is that I would give anybody who responds. I think the first 50 people, he actually gave them printed. He actually sent printed copies, but he got the money for that. You don't, I don't think. So
Say that again. He got the money. Say that part again.
He sent out to his email list. Of course, he has thousands and thousands of people on his email list. And he was saying that if anybody wants to be in on the ground floor of this process, this is what he is going to do. I think to the first 100 people who responded, he would send them a printed proof of the book for them to read. Of course, that will cost you money to do that, so I wouldn't advise that. But what he did for the rest of us who didn't respond quick enough is he sent us a link to the PDF version of the book for us to read, give him our feedback, and things like that. And then, there was a set time that we had to do that. So you think, well, I'm giving away my book for free. Yeah, you are giving away your book for free, kind of, but it's the proof. Let's say the place where you are now, not really edited or whatever. And once again, you're getting your mailing list. I don't know how extensive your mailing list is, your Facebook friends list, all those people, how extensive it is. And you create a link. That's, not that they can't edit it, they can't print it out. They're figure out the security measures to do that. And so let's say you have 100 people to respond and say, hey, Chris, I would love to, read your book, give you my input and whatnot. So now those 100 people they will be what's called your launch team, because the only thing that you're asking from your launch team, the people who actually read the book, is that A, they give you the feedback, and then B, you tell them, okay, I'm going to put the book for sale on Amazon on this particular date. And then, you send them an email. And what you want them to do within 24 to 48 hours of you releasing your book on Amazon is to have them go to Amazon and write a review. Because what that's going to do is it's going to bump your book up as far as the ratings for Amazon when people are searching for your book. And so, it's going to be, and think about how you feel when you're on Amazon and you see a product with 1 or 2 reviews and a product with 150 reviews. Which one are you more likely to trust? The one with the reviews. And so that's kind of building the process for that. And there are different, ways to do that. There's no one set way to do it. But I know Michael Hyatt, did that. And I think his book is called Free to Focus. Everybody is not going to follow through. That's why you want as many people as you can get, because, everybody's not going to follow through and do what they just, some people just want a free read. And that's why you don't send them the finalized version. You just don't. You can send them the version of, where it's at now, typos and everything, let them understand, hey, this hasn't really been edited yet. You're going to find some typos. This is where it is. So it's not really going to be appealing for them to steal it, because it's like, man, this ain't really finished yet. I know, that's why I'm asking your help. And so that's one thing that you can do from a marketing aspect, to really start thinking about your marketing. Since we're not working on the book per se, you're going to get the editor. And so your mind is going to be freed up from the book itself to focus on other things like book cover, marketing, make sure your website is up to date, getting buy-ins from your, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, whatever social media that you use. Begin to kind of start the buzz that this book is coming out. Hey, I need your help. Help me pick a title. Help me pick a book cover. Maybe start releasing some chapter titles and getting people's opinions.
I put a few quotes already on social media. Not a ton, like maybe twice I've done this. Like a little snippet of a book I'm working on. What do you think, or whatever, to get a little bit of a response. So I dipped my toe into this, but
and so maybe once a week, once or twice a week, begin to do that. Even if you wanted to create a special Facebook page or Facebook group devoted solely to your book, that you take your Facebook friends, say, hey, for those who want to be a part of this, join this Facebook group where we can discuss the book even before it comes out. And so now you have this little tribe of people, and then they can invite other people. Hey, I think so and so might be interested in this. You might get quite a few educators and things like that. But they're in this little, but people like to feel special. They like to feel, exclusive. And so,
Right.
people join this, what is, the title of the book so far. You can always change that.
Just
But,
love changed it all. I went back to what I originally had it.
okay. And so,
Um,
you just kind of, create a Facebook group based on this particular book here and say, hey, I would love to, to see, this is what I'm doing. If you guys want to be a part of this process, please like this page or join. I would say either join the group or like the page. I like join the group because there's more, you can actually do discussions,
right.
maybe even
If I
once a
did it,
week.
let me ask a question about that.
Yeah.
If I did do that idea, would I just name the Facebook group the name of the book I have right now? Like, what would I call it?
I would say name it the name of the book, and if the name of the book changes, you can always change a group's name, but right now that this is the working title of the book, people change group page names all the time. If it comes up, it could be when you hold the contest for your book title and subtitle,
Mm,
you may end up saying, well, hey, you guys chose this particular subtitle, so we're going to change the name of the group. You can do that. It's no biggie. It's no biggie. But
okay.
start building your fan base. Start building your fan base. That's something that you can do now. To put on LinkedIn. A lot of people on LinkedIn are on Facebook. A lot of people on Twitter are on Facebook. Go ahead and get your hashtag ready. Get your hashtag or a few hashtags. So anytime someone posts something, that they use that hashtag.
Okay.
You
That's good
know,
stuff.
and just and encourage people. If you share a quote from the book or something from the book, encourage people. Hey, share this on your page. Use this hashtag so that everything kind of goes back to this the hashtag. And when you choose your hashtag, try to make sure there's no other hashtag the same as yours. You know how to do that. I usually just go to Facebook and type in a hashtag and see what comes up.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay.
yeah.
That's good advice.
Okay. So we got that. So I'm going to send you, as soon as we get up here, I'm going to put up that stuff and send it to you. Any more questions, concerns, where you at?
Okay, realistically, because I tend to want to go, and then I realize, oh, reality, and it's gonna take longer, as you've already figured out about me.
Okay.
So, because I'm a little overly optimistic, maybe, but maybe not. I want to get this thing done. I'm ready to do this. I'm like you said, I think I've written it. I just need to let the baby get out now, right?
Right.
Realistically, like, what's a realistic timetable that I should, keep in mind
What is
until
this,
the point where I
June?
actually send that sucker to Amazon and launch?
Yeah.
With where I am right now.
Yeah. Well, we're in almost mid-June. The editing is probably going to take up the bulk of the time, depending on, you let your editor, figure out what they're going to do. So let's say the editing takes 6 weeks.
Okay.
And let's say we do 6 weeks for editing. Once it's edited, you're going to do the revisions. And I think you can probably get that done. Let's say 6, 7 weeks for editing and revising. Let's put those in that same pile there. While it's being edited, this is when you need to work on your book cover design, whether you're going to go to, once again, you can use a local person. You can go to, Fiverr and things like that. But, let's say the book cover design might take 2 or 3 weeks, but that should be done while you're in the editing phase. At least the front cover and the design of it. The book cover designer really can't finalize his book cover until all the editing and the revisions are complete, so he'll know the exact page count. You do need to decide what size book you want. The typical size is 6 by 9, and 5 by 8 is a popular size also. So between those two sizes there, whether it's 6 by 9 or 5 by 8. Um,
Is there a place I can go to, or should I just Google it? 6 by 9. If I have about 40,000 words, how many pages in an actual book that
I
would
can
be?
I can actually send you a PowerPoint clip with that on it. Okay?
Okay, that'll be great.
Yeah, so I will send you that PowerPoint. I might have it in the JPEG picture of I think it's called words to pages, as far as how many words equal to page, and then blah 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 or whatever. And so once again, with the editing and revision, that's going to fluctuate. You may start out with 40,000 words and end up with 38,000 words by the time the editor chops it up or whatever. She might add more words. So, but the big thing is for the book cover designer is to at least let them get started, and then for them, this a matter of, once they get the design down pat, getting the exact dimensions and page count for the book is when they can actually finalize it. So let's say book cover design, editing, and revision, let's say 6-7 weeks. So that puts us at what? July something?
Definitely July something.
Okay.
Let
And
me get
so,
my calendar out.
yeah.
I got to visually look at it here.
Let's do a flat out 8 weeks just to be generous. Let's say 8 weeks for book cover. For editing, and revisions.
You're looking at early August to mid-August.
Okay. So,
like the second week of August, or the first real full week of August 7th.
Okay. And so once you get that complete, once you get the editing complete, and you get your book cover design, before the book cover designer can really give you the finalized copy, it will have to be formatted. That's where we're checking to make sure all the page numbers are where they're supposed to be in the interior design part of it. I do offer that service, but once again, you don't have to choose me if you know someone who can do that. If you're Microsoft savvy yourself, or you work with InDesign, once again, I think Leslie Smith, the editor that I was talking about, who does the graphic design, I think she does interior design also. And so once again, you might ask her, hey, how much for editing, book cover, interior design? Yeah, all that together, and how much would she charge for that? Because once again, if she can do everything, that would definitely cut your timeline in half. Well, not in half, but it would cut your timeline because she's doing everything.
Right.
And so once again, let's add a week on to that at the most to get it formatted. And then once that happens, you get it we upload it. That takes, 2 or 3 hours, let's say a day to go through that process. And you're going to order a proof copy. You don't want to publish, you want to order a proof copy. And that takes about a week to 10 days to get, depending on whether you get expedited shipping. If you just do regular shipping, it's going to take 7 to 10 days to get your proof back, unless you pay for expedited shipping. So let's add 10 days onto that. And then what you're going to do once you get that proof, or your proofs, you and your wife or whoever, you are going to want to read through it. You're going to flip through it page by page, read it as a reader. I would say give yourself a week to do that. Or I don't know how fast of a reader you are, but let's say, you want to get this thing done. I'm going to plop myself down here with some coffee and I'm going to read. And then you're going to find the things that you want to make those corrections and those changes. And you're going to make those changes as you go. It might be chapter by chapter. Okay, I'm reading this chapter. let me make these corrections. I'm reading this chapter. Give yourself a week, no more than 2 weeks to do that. Don't drag that out. Don't drag that out. So you add on a week to 2 weeks. And then it's just a matter of re-uploading. That's another day. And if you're satisfied with how everything looks, you hit submit, you hit publish, and within a couple of hours, it's on Amazon. Unless you want to have a special release date that, you have a launch party where if you do that idea where you're having people leave the reviews, you say, hey, I'm going to be launching the book on October 1st. I don't know how far along are we with dates now with all those weeks I told you to put in.
Well, you're pretty much toward the end of August.
Okay, and so
let's September.
And so let's say you want to, do several or a couple of weeks or maybe even 30 days of marketing, of pushing this book. This book is coming out, guys. This book is coming out. Get ready, get ready, get ready. So let's shoot for an October 1st date, unless you want it sooner.
So you mean after I've already read the proof and done the uploads, maybe just push it for 30 days and then upload it? And then publish it?
Yeah, once you've done the revisions and you're satisfied with everything and we upload it, you just kind of put it in a holding pattern. You're going to be pushing the book from now until, but then that final 30 days, just start doing stuff, maybe, offering even giveaways. You start doing your pre-orders.
So I'm just making sure I heard you right. Don't hit submit and publish until after maybe 30 days of promoting it.
Right. And I'll be here to walk you through that process of getting it uploaded. We can set a time to do that, because that process, if you're not familiar with it, it can be frustrating and confusing. And so we can set up another date to spend that hour to walk you through the uploading process. I will have you share what I normally do is I have you share your screen with me, and then I will walk you through that process so you are physically doing it. Okay. So it's in your mind how to do it, but I'm kind of guiding you along. Oh, no, don't push that button, push this button. And it can be confusing the way that they have it sometimes. Another thing is your ISBN number.
Oh, yeah.
You have to make some decisions with that, whether or not you want a free ISBN number or you want your own ISBN number. I always tell people to get your own ISBN number because you have more freedom as to where you can publish the book. If you use the KDP ISBN number, the only place you can put that book is on KDP. So you're very limited.
How much does it cost to get your own?
When you go to the identification agency, it's called myidentifiers.com. I think that's still the website for it. And sometimes they have specials, but if not, it's $125 for one number. And they're going to try to sell you a barcode. Don't buy it. You can get those for free.
Okay.
You would also decide whether or not you want to get an official copyright. Everyone has what's called a common copyright, that anytime you create something, it's covered by copyright laws. You don't have to purchase that. The benefit to purchasing an official copyright, that if someone does happen to plagiarize you or violate the copyright and you go to court, you have more legal representation, and if you win, that person will end up having to pay all of your legal fees and blah blah blah. So
that's just something you do independently at the government website for like $35 or something.
Yeah, but right? For the copyright. If anybody charges you more than that, that's a third party. Make sure you go to the official government website.
That was what I was going to ask you, because with the teacher's guide that we wrote just for the business side of things. I wrote a book, but I didn't publish it because it's more like a how to do my process book.
Right. Yeah.
And so, but I copyrighted it
There you go.
independently.
Yeah.
Before, putting that out there.
Yeah. So those are some things that you can work on while the book is out of your hands. Start thinking about, what does your book launch look like? What are some things that you want to do in that last 30 days? Start thinking about that now, so that when those last 30 days come, you're ready. You're ready with, if you want to do some little video things, some video clips, or whatever, to get people ready. Start thinking about, brainstorming now what that looks like to you.
Okay.
Be fun, be exciting, get people to buy into this. Okay?
Cool. That was good.
Well, I'm glad I could help. Glad I can help. So anything else before we sign off here?
I don't think so. I mean, I think, once you look at what I have to this point, it'll inform both of us a little better for future discussions. But I'm looking forward to getting the list of copy editors, maybe Leslie Smith research.
Yeah, I'm going to send you that list. And once again, I think, like I said, no, Leslie Smith, she does it all. So she might be, she's local here. So, she might be, your choice to get everything done, just one stop, versus having to find an editor, a graphic designer, somebody do the interior design, whatever. So.
Okay, I will look forward to it. Thank you for your time.
You are welcome.
Give me a reminder, like, as far as payment for this hour, you email me something. How do we do this?
It's with PayPal, do the Coach Laura Brown at Gmail, and do it where you're sending it to friends and family. Then that way, I don't get charged that fee for it. So
we do
Coach
that
Laura Brown
all the time.
Yeah, Coach Laura Brown at Gmail, and I'll look at that. I'll send you that email, and we'll go from here. You have your marching orders. So yes. October 1st
is the goal.
Is our goal.
Okay.
October 1st. And I will send you a copy of this video also. So if you need to go back and review anything that I've said, you can trim it, do whatever till we get to the nitty-gritty stuff. So I will send you a copy of this video also.
Thank you.
Perfect.
Okay.
All right.
Look forward to it, and we'll PayPal you before the end of the day.
Okay.
My wife
go check on the baby, and then I'll get back to my desktop.
All right. Thanks so much.
All right. You have a good day. Bye-bye.
Thanks.